Welcome all sports fans, YouTubers, Facebookers, all social media across the nation. Uneducated Network on YouTube presents Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton. And before we get into it, please, if you haven't, like and subscribe to Uneducated Network and Uneducated Sports Talk, both channels on YouTube, where you can check us out, me and many more people on our channel. We're more than just YouTube channels, we are a way of life. Now, let's talk about the NBA playoffs going on. We have Eastern Conference action, and we have Western Conference action as well. Game one of the Eastern Conference semifinals. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers visiting the Toronto Raptors. We call them Daddy Cleveland versus Little Baby Toronto because they've met. Now it'll be their fourth year in a row, and Cleveland's bouncing about all 3 years, so you know who's playing daddy in this role. Toronto has a psychological misedge on Cleveland. Cleveland has that psychological edge over the Raptors for sure, bouncing them out 3 times in a row, 4 games to 1. Toronto hasn't had an answer for Cleveland, and usually sometimes they come with the overall better team, but they don't have LeBron James. DeMar DeRozan said himself last year, we would have won the series if we had LeBron James. Now, if that isn't saying, who's your daddy kind of thing, then, Toronto has to get over these demons. And did they do it in game one? Almost, almost. The Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Toronto Raptors 113 to 112 in overtime in a thrilling game, a game that Toronto was supposed to actually win. They started off 33 to 19 in the first quarter. They looked like they were the fresher team. Cleveland just came up a 7-game grueling series against a game Indiana Pacers team. Toronto have been chilling for about 6 days. But when you're up 33 to 19 in the first quarter, you can't blame it on rust. I'll tell you that right now. You can blame it on execution towards the end. We'll get into that a little bit. LeBron James had an off night. And here's the problem with the Raptors losing this game. LeBron was not on his A game at all. He was probably on a C plus kind of game. When I mean, hey, he still got a triple double, 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 13 assists. But he went 12 for 30 from the field, 1 for 6 from the free throw line, 1 for 8 from the 3-point line. So he was off by all means. But this was one of the games where everybody else stepped up, and that is not good news for Toronto. If you're going to get beat by the best player in the game right now. You can't get beat by and company. You know what I'm saying? You can't get beat by his company. Kyle Korver, 19 points. Tristan Thompson, 14 points, 12 rebounds. Jeff Green, 16 points. Jeff Green was playing center. He was playing point guard. He was doing it all, especially on the defensive end as well. And we also had J.R. Smith, 20 points. No, they went with a small ball action that kind of hurt Toronto. Look, they didn't even play Larry Nance Jr. He didn't even play in the game. So that tells you what kind of mindset the Cavaliers had going into this game. They wanted to play small, wanted to play quick, because they just got off a grueling 7-game series, and you got to play again. So they're probably the more ready team to play. But Toronto's at 33 to 19. There's no excuses anymore when you're up 14 points going into the second quarter. Matter of fact, they're up by as many as 14 points in the whole entire game, up by 13 points in the third quarter. Toronto could blame it on themselves. Once again, late game execution hurts the Raptors. You want to see DeMar DeRozan be more selfish in those time of needs. You don't want to see Fred VanVleet shooting up 3-pointers to try and win the game on 2 occasions. There's many instances where LeBron James was on Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan had a mismatch, whoever was guarding him. Maybe it was J.R. Smith, I believe, but you can still take him to the hole or do something to, get a lead or something. And Toronto had many chances at the end to get the lead with a couple seconds ago. A lot of in and out baskets, and this is how the game goes. Jonas Valanciunas was eating everybody alive. He's eating Kevin Love alive. That's why Tristan Thompson played a lot of minutes in this game, because Love was getting eaten up by Jonas Valanciunas. 21 points, 21 rebounds from the Lithuanian kid. So he was doing his thing. Kyle Lowry, 18 points, 10 assists. Tried his best. DeMar DeRozan, 22 points, 5 assists. So they need to go up and get bigger numbers than that. I understand now Toronto has a new supporting cast, and this is the type of team that can deal with Cleveland, because now they're more on, we're not going to be just DeRozan and Lowry anymore. We got a squad now. We got a squad. Well, that squad did not show up, and this hurts Toronto because LeBron didn't even play his best at all by a long shot. Still got a triple double. We're kind of used to seeing LeBron get triple doubles in the playoffs. So, but he did not play his best at all, and they still won the game. Found a way to win. LeBron almost had the game-winning jumper to end regulation, to be honest, and that was almost in, and that would have been very heartbreaking. But nonetheless, LeBron comes out with another Game 1 victory. That is 4 in a row. They win Game 1s against Toronto, and Toronto just can't find a way to beat Cleveland in Toronto. So now Cleveland already has broken home court advantage, so they are the guys who are the hunters now. They have basically 2 out of the next 3 at home. If they find a way to win in game two, you're talking a sweep. This is a sweep already, and we do not want to see Toronto getting beat by the Cavaliers 4-1 or 4-0 all over again. But if they lose game two, this series is completely over with that fast. So they got to come out with better energy in game two and sustain that energy. When you're up 13 points in the third quarter at home against a team who's played a 7-game series and you've been chilling for 6 days, you got to be more aggressive than what they were, and it came back to backfire. Now they're going to play a lot of 10. I don't see Toronto being loose, playing loose like we got this, because you could have played like that in game one, which I think they did. But now you're gonna be forcing a lot of stuff, and that's playing right into Cleveland's hands. So Cleveland's up 1-0, and looks like this might be a short series again. We'll find out. I had Cleveland winning 4-2 in this series, but it could be 4-1. Hell, it could be a sweep. You got the best player on the planet in the Eastern Conference against the Eastern Conference foe. He alone can beat this team. So we've seen it happen before. Another game, we had game two of the Western Conference semifinals. The New Orleans Pelicans back at it again against the Golden State Warriors. This time, the babyface Steph Curry is back, and he's playing a bench role. We did not see that coming off the bench, and my God, did it ever work out. Golden State beats New Orleans Pelicans 121 and 116 in a great game. It was very close throughout, and they had ups and downs when it comes down to the score, but Golden State finds a way to win at the end, 121 to 116. Steph Curry, player of the game, played in 26 minutes, 28 points off the bench. That's called productivity. He was looking at the same Steph Curry. He had an MCL grade 2 sprain. Now, when they lost in the finals, I believe it was at 16 against the Cavaliers, he had a grade 1 sprain, and he looked very bad. This time he was out 6 weeks, so he took care of the sprain, and he looked pretty good. He looked like he didn't miss a beat, and that is a scary sign for the NBA for the rest of the playoffs. If he is Steph Curry, even 90%, he is an animal. This team will not get beat at all. 28 points in 26 minutes. And he had 6 weeks off. You couldn't even tell. Kevin Durant, 29 points, did his thing. But New Orleans, like usual, they kept fighting. Anthony Davis, 25 points, 15 rebounds. And your boy Drew Holiday had 22 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Both those guys had great games. Mirotic, 18 points, 9 rebounds. But their bench players only had 13 combined bench points, and when your starters are playing that many minutes, AD played, I believe, 43 or 45 minutes, something like that. That's a lot of minutes, especially for a big guy. But hey, LeBron James is playing almost 47 minutes per game. Then why not Anthony Davis? So they can compete against the starters, but once the bench play comes in, and you're talking maybe 4 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Well, Steph Curry was coming off the bench. The Warriors had a total of 44 bench points, with Steph Curry getting 28 of those points. So I'm just saying, like, if Steph Curry's off the bench, he's playing against a lot of backups, and he's going to dominate that anytime. So, that could be a great formula going down the stretch, in my opinion, but Steph Curry's not going to be playing on the bench for long. He might sit out one more game, but I believe in New Orleans, Steph Curry will be starting because the Pelicans, we do know they are a different animal when it comes down to their home court advantage. So they got ways to go. Down 2-0, but it's not the end of the world. If they can get their victories back in New Orleans, things can kind of get tense. But if Golden State wants to win this series, they're going to win one of those games in New Orleans, and we'll see about it. That they have the better team. How they play on the road against New Orleans, we're going to find that out real quick, because if New Orleans can get that game 3, well, I think all the chips fall New Orleans to win game 4 as well. They'll be just that confident. And in the Smoothie King Center, it gets live and it gets rocking in New Orleans when things are going good for the Pelicans. So I'm really digging this series. It was a hard-fought game. Rajon Rondo's giving me another double-digit assist game, so he is going to get them rolling in game 3. I predict New Orleans to win game 3, actually. Maybe Golden State wins game 4. But I predict New Orleans to win game 3. And it's going to be fun. This playoffs is amazing right now. I'm loving it. The fact that Cleveland is probably going to beat Toronto handily, that kind of makes me sad. But you got Boston up 1-0 against Philadelphia. So you got a lot of good things going on. Houston is up 1-0, but Utah's always a game team, so we'll never know. I believe Houston will win game 2, but we'll find it out. I know Houston and Utah are playing right now, so I don't know who's winning. I haven't watched that at all, but if I were to predict, I think Houston wins game 2, but never count out Donovan Mitchell. From what I've seen from him, he is a beast. But It's looking like it'll be Golden State versus Houston matching up. Maybe we'll find that out. And it's looking like it could be Cleveland and Boston or Cleveland and Philly. I'm saying Cleveland and Philly. We'll find it out pretty soon. But it's gonna be a great playoffs. I'm loving the way it's going. So please, let me know who you got predict going into the Eastern or Western Conference Finals. I want to know your predictions right now. And do New Orleans Pelicans actually have a chance against Golden State to come back after being down 2-0? And is Toronto out that fast? Let me know. Do you guys have any faith in Toronto beating Cleveland, coming back from this 1-0 deficit? Let me know down below. Please like and subscribe, comment, and share everything on Uneducated Network and Uneducated Sports Talk, both on YouTube. This is Uneducated Sports Talk presented by Uneducated Network. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton. As always, sports fans, you guys know what time it is. Stay smart, stay educated. Peace. Gotta reach.